everybody. Welcome back to Two Exiles, One Portal, joined by Casper once again. I forgot that last time, by the way.
You didn't introduce me?
I forgot to introduce you last one.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm not important.
You are very important. Don't ever say that you're not important.
Bless my heart.
I don't appreciate when people hate themselves. Let me hate you.
Yeah. I did not expect that. I genuinely didn't expect that one.
just so silly. But so if you were here last episode, toward the end there, we were hinting at some minor league drama,
episode teasers,
and we're gonna reveal what that's all about.
We're gonna talk about it.
I
will preface it with saying that I am turning into a content whore. Every time anything comes up when it comes to Pav, I'm like, oh, we can talk about this. This is a great content. So I kind of felt bad, which is why before we recorded this, I actually like, is this like a current friend? Is this like how long you know this person? Because I realized that I gave zero fucks.
I don't really know this person. I can't remember whether it started with like a general track question, and then the person was just like, oh, if you want to, ever ask any help. Oh yeah, he's playing Peaconk, and asked a question about it. Poison concoction, sorry.
Oh, I heard Peacock. I'm like, I'm
Peaconk. Sorry. But he asked a question about projectile speed and poison concoction of bouncing and how the interaction works, which one you'd want. And after he was just like, oh, if you could add me, and if you have any other questions about other builds, I've played a lot of stuff, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, sure, and we got into this conversation. Somehow, I can't even remember how the shit started. Oh, yeah. He started complaining about how tanky he was feeling, I assume. Or lack thereof.
Probably the lack of. If I had to take a guess. After I read it, and also just Path in general. Like, I don't think you ever feel too tanky.
I, not gonna lie, my current build feels too tanky.
Okay, how much have you spent? 1 billion divines. You know what I'm saying? Like, you better be tanky after spending that much, bro. Like, I'm talking about, like, just general characters can typically, even like righteous fire builds, like even they're kind of like, I'm just tanky enough. They don't walk around like I'm too tanky.
This build is entirely too tanky for how much damage it does. It's like legit.
It's unjustifiable tanky.
Yeah, like as a matter of fact, it's funny. Miyu was like, "Dude, your build is starting to hit like illegal levels of effective hit pool." I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude, you're at 170,000 EHP." It's like, holy shit!
Try to kill me, bro. I've spent the world's economy on this.
I could go into most maps and just kind of stand still and just do nothing, as long as nothing is putting a whole bunch of corrupted bloods on me, or I'm standing in some fucked up ass degen. I'm virtually impossible to kill. If it's hits, I'm
sidebar. I guess have you done 217s?
I have. Those bosses have a retarded amount of health.
That's gonna be your next episode.
The creatures are, dude, T17s are dangerous, even to this build. Like, I can 100% die in T17s.
One of the future episodes that I wanted to do is overall, I was waiting for you to kind of get through them, and now that you have a character that can get through them, I wanted you to give honest review of the T17 system. So let's save that for next episode. But today,
drama.
Talking about this drama. Now, I don't want to call it drama, but I think this speaks to a very, very relevant topic to maybe 90% of the community players. And we've talked about it all the time. We kind of allude to it, and we're trying to make sense of it. But it's the one way I can define it is the FOMO, like the fear of missing out. So I'm gonna share my screen. And I'm gonna let Coffee read this conversation since I blocked out all the names.
Do you have a file for me?
Oh yeah, I can give it to you. Yeah, sure. Download PDF because I'm an office junkie. Convo. Yo, then let me pull it out, and it's in chat.
Awesome.
Oh shit! I put it in the wrong place. My bad. Might be. Put it in the wrong Discord server.
I found it though.
It's fine. It's good. I don't want it there. I put it back to EP
I
notes.
I don't want
What
it
the
there.
fuck? It's the wrong one. All
right. I got it though. It's fine.
All right. Cool.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So we got onto like the topic of the meta, and he has like very strong feelings on the meta, as you'll get to see. But I started the conversation essentially, which is like I don't consider something meta unless at least like 10% of all players are playing it. Granted, Lightning Arrow Deadeye is pretty popular right now, but even if you go and you look at like the percentages, it's barely quote unquote meta. It's like 14%, and that's just the ascendancy itself. 90% of meta builds have been around.
Wow, you do that.
Yeah. He replies, 90% of meta builds have been around for many leagues. They just get pushed by streamers and in some sort of rotation. And my response to that was, I think it's GGG playing whack-a-mole with like overtuned skills and letting some shit stay broken for a little bit too long. And he's like, I guess that's true. I think people just don't make their own builds anymore. They used to because it soft locks them from too much content. Go ahead.
So of Deadeye players, 14%. Of all PoE ninjas. Of those 14%, only about 45% are playing Lightning Arrow.
Right. So you have like 7 point something% of players playing this.
Still feels like a lot though.
It still feels like a lot, but it's not even 10%. But like as a point I brought up later, there are other games that are way more popular and have way worse skews for that kind of thing. And for GGD to try to like balance this to where people are really like, build diversity is good right now in my personal opinion.
Yeah, 10% higher, 12% hierophant, 10% trickster, 10% inquisitor, 10% necromancer, 7% chieftain, cultist, 7%, pathfinder, 6%, and it keeps going down. 5, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2.
Yeah, and then you have not all of those ascendancies are being played by the same skill, and even the ones that are being played by the same skill aren't being played the same way in a lot of cases. It's
Inquisitor,
nice.
for example, going on the list of Inquisitor, 12% of those players are playing Lancing Steel, Desecrate, Detonate Dead, Hex Blast, and this goes down 10, 11, 9, 7, 4, 3. Like, it's not even. It's not even like, okay, all of the Inquisitors are playing this one skill.
Right. So, let's see. And he said, and he follows that last statement up with, "We have far fewer viable builds now." It seemed to sort of start with Arch Nemesis. It's been rough being off meta. And my response to this is, I really don't believe that we have far fewer builds. I think it just takes more planning, since you're the one that has to make it work, or it feels really bad, kind of just like feeling around in the dark, floundering. When you're following Zizarin's build, you follow his build. You don't need to know how this shit works. You don't give a fuck. Yeah. You just want to get some maps and you want to play the game. You want to drop some loot, kill some shit. That's fine. I respect it. That is a completely viable way to play the game. But if you want to go and you see a skill, Lancing Steel, just something on top of my head because you just mentioned it, and you don't look at a build, you're going to struggle.
Yeah. Because it's going to actually require you to know.
Right. You're going to have to troubleshoot your own build.
Yeah.
And what's wrong with it, what you're lacking. You're going to have to think about what uniques are good or what are subpar decisions or things that you should be doing at what time. And if you don't, you're going to have a rough time. And if you do, you have to dedicate the time.
Which I'll also say, this is why build guides, as far as content creation is such a big moneymaker. And that's why so many streamers are doing it, because it fucking works.
It works and it helps.
It helps immense in this community, that you don't have to think about it. It's just, it's there for a reason.
Indeed, definitely there for a reason. And I've been trying to make it work. He says most people. I was like, most people just want to know what works, see content. And he's like, I just disagree. And I was like, actually, most people don't get out of acts. But I think that was supposed to be shifted, because I think he was still responding to the prior bit. And he's like, I play like Mathel, not as good. And he said the same thing I am saying, but I understand your perspective. And I was like,
how the hell do you play like Mathel?
Right. And he goes, that people just need to try harder. And he's like, I'm trying harder and doubling my EHP of the former characters of last league.
Oh wait, you said you play like Mathel.
No, he did.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he said, my response, because easiest way to look at this is, oh wow, not all of them have that. I think I fucked up. Usually where you see the challenge, 13. Yeah, that's him speaking, but then now you kind of have to look at the different lengths. Shit.
Yeah, the off color though. The off color is you.
Oh yeah, true. He's like, I play like Bathel, that people. He's like, I understand that people need to try harder. I'm trying harder.
You can't play like a streamer. It's impossible.
No, you can't,
because you don't have their knowledge.
You don't have their hours.
Just because you imitate them don't mean that you are them, and you're missing the most vital component to a streamer or a person like Mathel or Zizaran.
Time,
sheer amount of knowledge and depth of fucking knowing how to fucking play the game. I don't care how good you play like them. You're never going to be them. It's impossible.
So then he goes, it's way rougher, even though he's doubled his EHP. So I imagine that people that don't have 9 years of playing, I don't just speak for myself. I try to speak on behalf of the 50% genuine casuals that get 15 hours a week.
First of all, that number is way higher.
Probably.
That 50% casuals is more like maybe 80% casuals.
Yeah, that would be my agreement as well. Way more casuals than there are hardcore players.
And the way you know this is because you look at the Steam numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Every league, the remaining amount of players are about 20,000. And those are the 1% and 5%. In the beginning of the league, you have the 200,000, right? And then by the end, 20,000. I haven't done the percentage. I'm just going to say it's a rough 80%.
I'm gonna be real though. Like, you still have a lot of people that are like starting this late league. Do you know how many people I've helped in the last 4 days?
Yeah,
people starting out in the league, asking for a little bit of currency, asking for a tabula, shit like that. But it's crazy. So it's even less than those numbers that are actually pushing hard content and pushing so many hours.
Right.
So he's like, it used to be
right now Zizaran is playing other games,
and yeah,
he takes breaks. He'll play. I've seen him play Torchlight Infinite. He's doing a little bit of that. So again, at this point, most hardcore gamers are pushing ridiculous amounts of content as far as what they are, or they're kind of like, all right, let me just cruise.
Yeah, cruising, chilling. Like what I'm doing right now is like, at this point, I think of a content and I just try it and see how it goes. My build blasts like crazy. I'm not trying to make currency like really anymore. Just kind of fucking around. Trying stuff I've never tried. Like, it's interesting. It's a good way of just
you said you were you announced that you were Uber already.
Yep, I did Uber Cirrus. I did.
There's a question: did you clip anything?
It was before you reminded me to clip stuff. God damn it. Yeah. So I have to. What I'll do is tonight I'll go and I'll farm some Sanctum, get some money so I can buy some Uber fragments, and then I'll clip. I'll do stuff like with the.
I can log in and give you whatever I have.
Don't worry about it. No, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
I make like 12 to 17 div an hour doing Sanctum. Like I will have, like, if I wanted a mage flood, I'd get one.
What's minimum wage on what's minimum wage in Path? What would you, if you
Uh,
had to give it a number of
like
divs?
two or three div an
All
hour.
right. So if you're not making 2 divs an hour, you're being a slave. Stop it. You need to work for minimum wage at least.
Well, if you're not making two div an hour, then you really need to consider what you're actually doing and how much time you're spending in the hideout. Like, because right now I'm making no div an hour. I've spent fucking how much time just sitting in my fucking hideout doing jack shit. But I'm not expecting to be making money right now.
Yeah.
Which is why, don't complain about not making money if you're spending a ton of time in your hideout doing nothing. You have to be doing content to make money.
And if you want to know how much time you spend, excuse me, how much you're spending time, watch your time. There is overlays that help you with that.
Yep. And not to mention, like, dude, if you're like legit just out and going and you're doing it diligently, you're not fucking around, you're not wasting time in your hideout, you're not sitting there talking to
You're not
chat.
doing chaos
You're
recipes.
right. You're just grinding, looking for like actual money. You will easily clear 2 div an hour. It is really hard not to make 2 div an hour if you're actually actively playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is a lot of people are sitting in their hideouts talking with general chat, kind of just fucking around. You know what I mean? But like if you have to put the actual time, especially if you're like mapping and shit. Like mapping is so powerful right now. You could be use an Atlas strategy, read some of your Atlas skill tree stuff. Like, dude, there are so many ways to make crazy amounts of money right now.
Scarabs.
I'm going to be trying the meat sack farm strategy, which has been said to be like 60 to 80 div an hour.
Oof.
But it requires you to have a build like mine.
Okay.
Like ridiculous strength. You have to be able to easily clear T17 farm while having increases on your map effect modifiers. It's really hard. Like this, bro, Uber Cirrus was not as hard as these T17 maps.
Wow. So this
Yeah.
guy, okay, so 50% of casual players. I want you to.
Oh yeah. Going back to it. Sorry, I went as I'm trying to find where I was.
Second paragraph.
Second paragraph. Yeah.
Third, actually.
He's like third. He's like, I'm trying harder, doubling the that. So I imagine people. It used to be viable to have fun and have a T16 off meta builds at like 15 hours a week. Now at 15 hours a week, you won't be viable off meta without significant knowledge for most of the league. However, I do think that I do think if there were more effort, we could see more builds in videos and stuff.
Whose effort?
I don't know. I honestly don't know what he's talking
I do
about.
think if they were more, there's a fuck ton of effort going into builds.
Yeah, that's kind of why I didn't understand what he meant there. And then my response to what he said was, in the last 5 leagues, I've been nothing but shocked at the creativity of the community with build choices, and I like there are indeed certain things that are that almost stay meta, right? Fucking DD, fucking ED Contagion, fucking, you know what I mean? There's always
okay. What I will
SRS.
say about ED Contagion is that it's been like 2 leagues that I haven't really seen.
Because there's no need to update it. It's still just good.
Okay, yeah. I haven't seen like it being like spotlighted.
Right. Like it's if you want to play that kind of game, it's still good.
And I think what that indicates is that GGG likes it where it is.
Right. So I don't hate it. It's an interesting fucking concept. It's not what I wanted to play. Within the last few leagues, I have seen crazier and crazier fucking builds.
Yeah, Ward Looper.
Yeah, fucking ward looping.
That didn't exist 4 leagues ago.
Bro, wardless ward loopers.
Oh my gosh.
Mind blown. Health loopers. Fucking I've made 4 variations of ward loop. Fucking Spark Inquisitor. There's all the Orobot stuff. Kinetic Blast. The Kinetic Blast of Fragmentation. There's so many interesting fucking builds. They're hard to make work because they're complicated. They're complex.
Very.
It's a lot to go, dude. Even just making this build, which I'm not gonna lie, as far as like total difficulty of build, this was really straightforward.
There was no build guide that I found when it came to making a Sparker.
Right.
I just looked it up. I looked at one dude that was pushing a fuck ton of damage and said, what is he doing? let me see, and I copied his basically items, his everything, and I'm like, okay, Warlooper. I mean, not Warlooper, sorry, Sparker. And then we ran into a lot of fucking problems, and we
Because
fixed it.
we fixed it, but we had
fixed
to
it.
understand the build more.
Right. It took like 3 people, well, 2, not me, not including me. And then we fixed it, and then we started ball of.
I think the prior statement still stands. I'd count me as 2 people.
That's a good thing. But yeah, it's so I think he's completely off base when it comes to just meta builds and all this other stuff.
It's like, but each league seems to have like a big flavor of the month, and even meta builds are rocking like 15 to 20% ascendancy overall choice. Like, early league, those numbers are a little higher, but as the league tapers and more gets like it settles, like it's fine.
Everyone tries the hype builds,
right? But he goes, if Mathwell says a build sucks, I'm taking his word for it. And I was like, I don't know, dude. In games like League of Legends, you have 160 choices per lane, but you see the same 5 champions in the same lane every game. And he goes, League of Legends is a good joke. My response to that is, it's popular. He's like, I think I've been spoiled all these years. And he's like, League of Legends is, or that sorry, that was the end of the conversation. So it's continuing. He's like, think I've been spoiled. And it's like, I was like, a joke as it may be, and it's still popular. He's like, I feel, and then he's like, I feel as you conflate things, and I'm getting a bit tired of it. And he's like, what the fuck does popularity? Yeah, what the fuck does popularity have to do with the game being good or bad? He's like, it's free and half the world is poor. It's gonna get played. And I was like, question: do you play Overwatch 2? It's free to play. No, because no one is. Like, you have to have something you do correct for so many people to be interested and to keep it alive.
In Overwatch defense, some people do play it.
Shall we look at the Steam numbers?
I will get on it.
But continuing as he's doing that one, he's like, for it to be kept alive for so long. And I'm like, good or bad games is subjective. Who's the best looking? So that's what I was getting kind of like condescending. I was like, who's the best looking celebrity? I was like, you're wrong. It's Halle Berry. I think I actually missed that one. I did.
No, in the next page.
No. Yeah. I was like, you're wrong. It's Halle Berry. Get my point? He's like, I'm like, we need measurable metrics, to value these things, or we're just arguing about tits and ass, dude. This is a stupid question. Like, you remember back when people like asked that question?
That's still a question, man, bro. What do you mean?
It's a subjective question though. Like, and I hate the question. Like, it's so
to know where you stand on things. Tits or ass.
I get it, but again, it's still subjective.
You.
It's not a.
I'm asking you.
Oh, you're asking me?
Tits and ass.
Yes. That is not a cop-out. I honestly have no preference. I have had girlfriends with like, larger bazoombas. I've had girls with fat asses.
What are you, like in the 1900s?
Hey, bro, fuck you. I can say bazoombas if I want. Bazoombas. I've had girls with, big donks. Like, it's, to be honest, they both have very good benefits. And that's it. Like, I don't see a down, other than for the woman herself. I'm pretty sure most women would rather have ass, because that doesn't get fucked up, or that doesn't start fucking up your back. Yeah, like, so that's not a question for me to answer. That's a question for them to answer. Like, the
as are ridiculous these days.
As a man, I'm just cool. Like, bring both. Like,
Overwatch 2. 29,000 players at the moment.
Now you can
chart to see,
like, Helldivers. Let's just look at Helldivers.
46,000 peak. Like on a daily 46, and it goes back down to 29. All time peak in the last 9 months, 75,000. So they're not even reaching path numbers.
Yeah. Let's see. Last week. Activeplayer.io. Give me 1 second while I look this shit up. Active players online 1 hour ago was 1.25 million. for
Yeah.
League.
Pathfinder. Yeah. No, oh yeah. I even.
You're like
Yeah. But
League of
League. No, League has
a huge player base. It's easy.
esports.
Right, but nobody's watching fucking esports.
No, I know, but I'm saying, but when a game has an esport traction, right? That means it has international traction, and that means that chances are they're going to reach a higher percent of players. And if Tencent owns it, that means it's reaching.
I'm pretty sure there's Overwatch 2 tournaments
at the beginning.
Hold up. The 2024 season of OWCS will kick off February for Asia and March for NA, and EMEA with the circuit concluding in November. Yeah, you could suck a dick, dude. Yeah. It's a worse game. There's no other reason that it's that much lower. It's a worse game based on obvious metrics.
Yeah.
Like I don't see how you can't recognize, how you could be so jaded and hate something so much that you can't recognize the fact that it has to be doing something good.
So the reason I love this conversation, right, is because I got captivated on a single line. What he said is that let me see what I can find it. Okay. The line that he says, it used to be viable to have fun and have a T16 off meta build at 15 hours a week. Now, at 15 hours a week, you won't be viable off meta without significant knowledge of most of the league. Now, as soon as I read that, I said we're making an episode on this because he's full of shit.
Yeah. 100.
This game has never, ever
been that easy. Nope.
Not at just being able to be off meta build at 15 hours a week. I broke this motherfucker down. That means you play at least 2 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mofo. It takes about an hour. If you're decent like me, I'm decent. I'm not good. I'm decent. It takes me about 45 minutes to an hour to get through an act. And some of the longer ones, maybe an hour 10, maybe an hour 15, depending on what's going on. If I'm just I'm just grinding it. So you're telling me that it's gonna take you what? If it takes about 7 hours, 10 hours to complete the campaign, is gonna take
5 days?
you
4 days? Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Roughly, to get to maps, it's gonna take you a week. Then you have to grind out maps. It takes about, if you're pushing maps, it takes roughly around 5 to 7 minutes per map. Roughly, there's 150 maps. Look, you can do the math at home. No, unless you're playing well into the end of the league. So like you're playing like deep into the first month. And I swear to God, I started doing. I pulled out my calculator and I started punching the numbers. And but I quit by the time I got to like half the season. So when I started realizing like, oh wait, I'm already a month and a half into the season, into the league. And I'm not even in tier 17 maps yet. I mean, not tier 17 maps, yellow maps.
This league was kind of a slow start.
No. I meant no. I meant like I was calculating if I only played for 2 hours, because I debated next league running a character and playing it only for 2 days, for 2 hours, and see how far I get.
Oh,
right. So I'm thinking about, if I only have 2 hours and I maximize those 2 hours and I only play how many of the maps I can get in 2 hours, how long would it actually take me to complete an atlas to get to T16 maps? That shit is impossible, bro.
Yeah.
You may get to the end.
If you do it with white maps, you could do it. You could do it in like
he says T16 maps.
You could probably again white map, but like
Oh, you're
the
right. Yeah. White maps. Yeah. Okay. I take that back. But you can't get T16 maps unless you start playing them incrementally.
right.
You have to opt them.
Right.
You're gonna have
You
to
have to you
get the
have to
completion
do.
bonus.
Oh, you're
Get the
right.
completion bonus.
Ah, I actually didn't even fucking think about that. Oh
Yeah.
fuck.
So and
Okay,
then you need to
yeah.
get the void stones too to get to get more T16 maps.
T17s. No, that's T17s. Void stones are for T17s now.
Well, to get more T16 maps, you need
Oh,
void
that too.
stones. So
Yeah.
so again, and he's doing this on an off meta build. So that means what's an off meta build? How would you define an off meta build?
Me personally,
Yeah. I have my
I
own definition, but
define
how's yours?
I define an off meta build as like less than 2% ascendancy and less than 25% of ascendancy play.
Okay. From experience, how I define off meta build is a build that has not been proven to work by
Fair?
any stretch of imagination. There's no guide in it. There's no like pre-calculation of shit. It's just like, and I've learned this the hard way when they released Crackling Lance. And Scissorin made a guide on it. He's like, bro, this I may be either crazy good or crazy bad. We do not have the numbers, but just in case, if it's crazy bad, this is how you're gonna be able to pivot to arc.
Yeah.
Right? And I started with Crackling Lance, bro. It was complete dog shit.
Trash, yeah.
It was so bad, bro. And that's what I consider off meta build. It was not proven. Like, this is why sometimes things like DD, things like Contagion, ED Contagion, why some Righteous Fire, why they're on meta builds. Why? Because league after league after league, they work. It's been
Tried and
proven.
true.
They're just foolproof. Even if they, I'm thinking about Righteous Fire. Even when they get nerfed, they still work.
You see, but this is the thing though. This is where I have to rebut you slightly. I don't think that's enough to be considered, or I don't think that the way you measure that is enough. Because if you go
Maybe,
based on just unproven, then that literally only leaves new skills. And metas are basically a defined skeleton of how you play the game. I think that popularity has a way of calculating into that.
My only addition to that would, and that's not a rebuttal, it's mostly just an addition to what you're saying, is that most new skills don't become meta. Most.
True.
Most kind of like get used and it's like, they go back to something like something solid. At least in the last couple of leagues. There haven't been like a solid skill that's been released and like everyone just jump on it. I may have the exception to that in Sanguinate. I think Sanguinate was like fucking, it hit the mark.
I can't remember Exsanguinate release.
Yeah, I think it was Calandra. I think. Yeah, I think it's Calandra. Oh, maybe one of those. I'm not gonna go back. But yeah. But it's whether or not you use my definition or you use your definition, it still holds true. A meta build requires a significant amount of knowledge to make it work. You're not gonna be able to do that if you only play for 2 hours. You're not. I'm sorry. You're not. They need to rename the category of Path. Path is not a casual ARPG.
Oh, absolutely not a
It's
casual
not
ARPG.
a casual. If you are playing Path because you want to have a casual ARPG, stop, uninstall, and play Torchlight Infinite
Or fucking Last Epoch.
or Diablo 4.
Ugh, I don't recommend you play Diablo 4, people. I recommend Last Epoch. Like straight up, it's a casual, friendly game that has enough depth to where you can express your own flavor on builds.
And I think it's doesn't punish you too much for going a bit off meta. It's things still die. Things relatively are fine. At least I haven't seen like things just take a little longer to kill. Like if you're not
Yeah.
necessarily like on super built out and not on meta or whatever.
Can you
But
hear me or am I muted?
no, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember if I muted or unmuted right now. Sorry.
But yeah, so it it's a fucking hardcore game, bro. Like I'm sorry, like I'm sorry that if you listen to this and you are not a hardcore player and you're playing this for casual reasons, go meta.
Yeah.
Maximize the time that you have available and blast. That is
Not
the
only
only
that,
way.
but capitalize on the information that's already out there and available for you so that you don't have to discover the shit on yourself for yourself. It's so much harder learning this game when you're not taking advice from others or looking at numbers that other people have generated or using the tools.
That's like trying to reinvent physics.
Right. It's so hard.
Why would you do that? You have fucking geniuses that spent their whole lifespan developing what the knowledge that we have now. Just so the sole purpose of your goofy ass comes in and says, "Oh, let me use this information and do something else." Don't just try to recreate the wheel, bro. Like, first of all, that's disrespectful to all the people who cultivated all the information to begin with.
The thing is, though, is like even if you want to try something different, right? So say you go up and you see a build and it's like absolution. Or no, not absolution. Like say specters, and you're like, I don't want to play specters though. You can apply most of what you see on the specters build to other builds, and then as you get better and you start min maxing, you will learn. Oh, well, I can get more damage from this because they attack faster. Or da, 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 da. You just have you don't have to copy a build. But you can use it as inspiration and be like, I will make my own build from someone else's build, and it can still work.
If you are like me, and I'm not a hardcore gamer, I can't justifiably say that I'm a hardcore gamer. Not anymore. I have a child, I have a wife, I have fucking responsibilities, right? Sometimes I cannot sit here for hours and hours and hours and play, even though all I fucking do is dream about it and salivate. And every now and then I can ask permission. I'm like, can I just get one day? Can I get one day? And my wife is like, yeah, you got it. And she will let me play for 10 hours, 10, 12 hours. And she'll nag me. Every now and then I'll take a break. But for the most part, that's a rarity, right? If you only have 2 hours, this is why every league start I blast. I make sure I get to end game as soon as I can. And most of the time I'm first. Because I know once
you can blast maps in 2 hours.
Yeah, you can. Fucking it's easy to blast maps, but you can't blast fucking campaign. I mean, well, technically you can, but you're locked in that 10 acts.
5 hours. I think I've gotten campaign to 5 hours consistently.
And maybe I'm being generous with mine a lot of time.
You are usually faster than I am though. And it's usually because what will happen is the game will release, you'll be playing while I still have to download.
Yeah. And I'll be like Act 2 by the time you come on.
Yeah.
And I'll take a break at that point, let you catch up, and then come back on. And you usually be by Act 2.
Yeah. And then we have like differing schedules for a little bit, and then we usually just like meet up end game somewhere.
And usually by the second day, we're both at maps. Now you either might be a little ahead of me, or I might be doing white maps, and you're kind of just catching up. But it's usually around the same like T5 maps, T3 maps around there. But it's because I understand my schedule. I understand that I may have that 15-hour a week
number. Yeah.
So I know if all I can have time is come on, play for 2 or 3 hours, and all I can do is blast maps, then I need to put myself in a situation where I can get to that point. And if not, I can't play that league. Just not gonna be able to. I'm gonna be in campaign for a month and a half.
And for 15 hours a week at my level of play, I can get into maps day 2. Because if I'm doing it, I know I would be planning better. Because if I'm only playing 2 hours a day, I would have to, I'd
You
be
got to
have
be
to,
super, super efficient.
yeah,
You have to be
I can,
basically on level of a racer.
right. Oh well, no, because racers right now are like 3 hours, and if you're playing 2 hours, you're 30 minutes behind them, so you have some leeway, but you can't fuck around. You can't go and do what I normally do because what ends up
But
happening
you get
is my
lost.
early. No, I actually stopped getting lost. But what ends up happening is my builds that I've been trying for League Start are usually so fucking fun lately that I kill too much shit. I over level hard.
Ah.
So I
So you're
end up
like
getting
5
lost
levels
just
over the map that you're in.
yeah. Like dude, with this build, I think I was 8 levels over by the time I got to maps. I was almost level 80.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Like, but it was still, and the funny thing is, it was still like 5 hours and change. It was just this build blasts like for leveling, fucking the new
That's a
bomb
very
was.
important point too of like knowing if you can only play 2 hours, right? And then you know that's how much you play. Your prep time needs to be fucking impeccable.
Yeah,
That means that before you even play, you need to like
where am I going? What
where am I
quests am I doing?
going? What quests? What skills am I doing? Do a little research. You know what I mean? Like, what's a
Yeah,
good
you don't have to
leveling
go. You don't have to
skill?
plan every step, but you don't want to be lost in zones that you don't need for like regret points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't want to fucking waste any of your time. You just want
Right.
to get to the maps and you want to get to blasting.
And it's I first thought like I really wanted to run this experiment. I'm like, how far could I get? But I'm not gonna subject myself to it on this arbitrary 15 hours a week thing. Like if you're one of those guys that can only play 2 hours a day, understand this: you are not gonna get to C60 maps unless you planning on playing the entire league.
You could again. I guess this really depends on like game knowledge, right?
Yeah, it does.
Because it's one of
I'm
those things
going
where
based
like
on what he's having trouble with
right,
fucking EHP.
yeah.
He's dying
Well,
a
but
lot.
then again, this was another thing that I wish that he had stayed around because he ended the conversation with me at the end of this, by the way. Um, the thing that I wanted to tell him was what ends up happening is every league you play, even if you're playing the same amount of time, you're understanding more and more about the game, gaining a little bit of knowledge, and feeling like you can push a little harder.
Right.
But if you don't have the extra time, and yes, you might be doubling your EHP, but are you tripling your map rolls? Are you adding more difficult content? Are you running fucking difficult Atlas strategies and thinking that just because your EHP pool is double, that you should be able to blast just as hard as you did last map or
Not only
last
that,
league with harder mods?
they modify the defenses every league.
Right.
Like they always work a little different on the defenses. So you can't just say, "Oh, I have affected EAP," and that's it. Like, no, it doesn't. Sometimes that's not enough.
And my thing is like, well, what is double your EHP? And is it Ellie? Is it Fizz? Is it like both? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's too many variables that he didn't like get into, and I really wanted to I'm not even gonna lie, people. I really wanted to pick this guy's brain about this subject. I really did. I was
I don't like his singular loyalty to Matho. Almost like has Matthew ever been wrong about something? Like, bro, Matthew is just a player like you and me. Yeah, he has an extensive knowledge that maybe I don't have, but at any given moment, Matthew could be wrong. And sometimes you need a second opinion, third opinion, fourth opinion, especially when it comes to something that you only have 2 hours of gameplay. You don't want to go off on just one streamer, what he's saying. Sometimes you didn't like
not
what was this other guy
you
saying?
don't want to go off of not only just one streamer, but the one of the blastiest fucking streamers.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to understand. Look at when you if you are someone who doesn't play as much as I do, understand I will stay biased in unexpected ways when I talk about and think about this game. There are certain things that I don't remember how they feel back when I was new. I have learned much more about the game, and thinking about it has just literally changed. And that is true for every fucking streamer that plays on a high level. If you are talking about like a newer player, right, that is streaming, say he's able to blast, fucking T16s at the end of the league, he's making content a little bit, doing his little thing, doing some Gamba streams, maybe fucking go and look at some of his videos, because he's playing more along your line. And the fact of the matter is if I try to play like a casual, what ends up happening is I just play efficient, because I'm not a casual anymore.
Yeah. Your brain has, like, you have made new connections in your brain that allow you to kind of skip steps
and like look at it differently, and like know where I'm wasting my time and where not to. But so I'll end up giving you like a good way of doing it if that's your time frame, but I won't quite understand where you're coming from with your problems. But if you're watching another streamer who's basically on your same schedule, doing sort of the same content that you want to do, he's going to teach you how to do that a little more efficiently, because that's all he wants to do. When I play a game like this particular game, I want blasting Ubers. I want fucking T17s. When I saw T17s, I was scared and happy. It's just cool. These maps are fucking incredibly hard. Once I saw them, I was like, fuck, dude, I'm gonna have to fucking play almost all league to get to the point of blasting these. And it didn't take me that long. So, I'm happy about my progress. But it's just one of those things where like people, you really have to tailor who you're looking at and what you're watching to your goals.
At 2 hours a week, man, you're lucky if you can even get to a pinnacle boss.
Yeah, that's hard.
Like,
because now you have to farm 4 maps plus.
You need to have a good build. You need to have a good damage, a good survivability,
or one.
Oh, I guess. Yeah, that's
you don't need
unless you burn 5 portals, right?
Right.
That's good point.
For instance, Quinn69, that dude never plays fucking damage builds. The bro was playing fucking, I think he made a build, or no, I think it was Zizarin that made a build that killed Uber Maven in 30 minutes.
Yeah, I just seen I didn't see the video. I seen the preview of it. I was like, what?
I was like, yeah, what?
The worst build I've ever made.
Probably tanky as fuck.
Imagine making a build that it takes, if you only can play 2 hours a day, it takes you one of those hours to kill the boss.
Like, you gotta tailor your expectations.
You definitely are not working for minimum wage in PAV. You would not make it 2 divs an hour, bro. You just not.
I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be able to make the build. You couldn't afford.
That's okay. So actually, that's a perfect pivot. Perfect pivot. If you have 2 hours a day to play,
one of those days has to be spent trading, at least per week.
Boom. Boom. How much time is spending trading? Trading takes a fuck ton of time.
Yeah.
Bro, I sometimes spent 5 hours
just going through your shit, listing it right, fucking
stopping trading. Stop. I mean, like buying shit, right. Searching for shit, fucking cluster jewels. Oh my fucking gosh, just like looking for the right one. And back when I was using which one's the ones that you had to do the calculator for? The
timeless jewels.
Timeless jewels. Oh my gosh. Like that shit takes time. And if you
unless you get efficient, and again, unless you get efficient, dude, do you know that Miyu has found every single one of my timeless jewel upgrades in less than 10 minutes?
But everyone doesn't have a Miyu though.
I know, but we
should make a Miyu overlay.
Dude, I'm down.
Just turn them into an AI.
Like, I understand not everybody has a Miyu, right? And I can't fucking find timeless jewel upgrades in that amount of time. As a matter of fact, if you were to take snapshots of my build, I don't get timeless jewels until I talk to me.
It's like consulting.
I just don't fucking do it, dude. I won't use dude. I won't use clusters. Like my
I'm gonna
my
pimp.
peacock use
I'm
0
going to
clusters.
pimp Mew out.
I start asking unrelated questions for other people.
Yeah, I think I might just put like a Patreon
Don't
support.
ask me you. Oh shit,
I ask
yo, I'm
Mew
so down.
tier, and I'll pay him. I don't care. I'll pay him.
Oh yeah,
I'll pay him. I'll give him a percentage of the proceeds. I'm like, bro,
fucking
people will pay just to ask you how to build this shit,
like
and I'll
it's
get all the
insane.
requirements. I'll get like the POB. I'll get all that shit.
I also love how when you're talking about trying to make your Spark Inquisitor work, how you actually included me in that. I don't know if you noticed that all I was doing was agreeing with me.
That's all it takes, bro. He just needs a conduit. He needs a conduit of like
Bouncing ideas off of. That's it. Like
he
I'll come
literally
up
needs
with
a
an idea.
wall. He
Yeah,
needs a
like
wall.
literally. And I'll sit
No,
there
no,
and just be like,
a
yeah,
mirror is
good
better.
idea.
A mirror, because he just needs to he needs to feel like he's talking to someone about it. So
Yep.
I told you, and I walked the fuck away, and then
And
you
I was
just
like,
acted as a mirror, like, "Yep, this is good. Yeah."
yeah, we can do that.
And he just
Did
figured
you?
that shit out.
Yeah. I have helped people with builds. I'm not stupid, right? I understand the basics, but the way that he does it
Well,
is
we're
on
talking about like
such a different level.
yeah, that Sparker was advanced.
But then again, also like even thinking about it in like my normal ways of thinking about it, I would not have been able to do. I would not be able to make a viable Sparker that was able to do half the damage that you did without my buffs. And that's because I would think about defenses and all of these other things, and because I'm trying to make a build that'll survive a thing.
Right.
He can. If you're like, oh, I don't need any defenses, I need to
We
do
have
this
an
specific
Arbot.
thing, right? I just need to do the specific thing. He will be like, oh, okay, easy. Let me just fucking work out the tree real quick. I'll POB this. You take this ascendancy with that particular character, you're fine.
It's almost like he's memorized most of everything.
Right. And like he goes and looks shit up to confirm.
And if again you're a casual player, you know what the tree looks like, you know what the Alice tree looks like. Imagine someone actually memorizing most of that shit.
And knowing, dude, he does that shit to me all the time, by the way.
So, yeah.
Where he'll be like, "Oh, just take this particular thing on the tree," and I'm like, "Wait, that exists? Where is that shit at?" And he'll tell me the name of the thing, and I'll sit there and I'll be looking for it for 5 minutes, and then he's like, "Oh, it's in the bottom right, near where where Inquisitor starts or some shit," and I'll be like, "Wait, you memorize where everything starts?" Like,
yeah, $100 a month for Mew tier supporter pack.
For Mew tier supporter pack.
Fuck, that's worth his fucking time, bro. This fucking
do you know?
He's a fucking wizard.
Do you know how many people would end up signing up for that shit, and then that just becomes his entire job?
I'll make it $1,000. It's called what is it? Supply and demand. It's only one Mew to go around, bro.
Only one Mew.
You want his help, you gotta pay for it. I'm sorry.
Or then at that point we just sign up other people who are on Mew's level, right? We just start recruiting Mews. A small army.
That's a hard dude to replace, bro.
It is. Yeah.
Like you got to come hard if you really think you can. Like,
it's a matter of fact.
Mew.
As a matter of fact, with sheer how much knowledge this human being has, I would put him above 90% of like popular streamers. Yeah. I honestly think. I don't even think Ziz knows as much as Mew does, dude. I think
that's a hard
no.
comparison. Ziz knows a lot, bro.
No, because when you think about it, bro, he asks questions to other people. When you look at even like what's his name, the dude that does the crazy end league experiments. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
He has a dedicated guy that does his crafting, that looks up all his percentages and stuff like that.
So whoever that unnamed guy is, it's Mew, bro.
Right.
Mew works for that dude.
I actually think Mew might be slightly underneath that guy, because that guy like understands percentiles and weightings and all that shit.
Mm.
I don't. Miyu knows the general understanding of how to craft a thing, and
And just
generally will know the
YOLOs
best.
that bitch.
Right, and he'll generally know the best way to craft it, but he won't be able to be like, oh yeah, it's a 1 in 4 to hit or a 1 in 19 to hit.
Now we are saying all this and pretending like Mew doesn't actually do research. I'm 90% sure that whenever Mew's not actually playing, he's reading up on shit.
Oh yeah,
He's on Path of Exile, Craft of Exile. He's on all these other overlays, like trying to figure out like how to do this. Like Mew is not a casual player,
no,
not in the slightest. This motherfucker eats, breathes paths.
yeah,
So it's
it's insane.
it's one of the things that if you are a casual player and if you're playing 2 hours a week, you are a casual player. Understand that this game is not made for you.
It really isn't, and it's sad to say that, but it actually it really depends on where you want to go. If you do want to dick around in the axe and you don't give a fuck about mapping, then this game is fucking made for you. You
No,
can
don't get
fucking
me
dick
wrong.
around
It gives you
forever.
access to it. If that's what's free to
Yeah,
play, it gives you access to it. You can go as far as you want to go.
but if you do want to see what end game is, you're either going to have to get lucky, get a whole bunch of currency, and pay some people to help you,
Mm-hmm.
or to carry you,
Yes.
or you're gonna just like we were saying earlier, put a lot of like your time when you're at work and your downtime on your breaks when you're fucking on the bus, fucking just reading path,
Not that I'm
fucking
encouraging this, but check out our episode of double wielding credit cards.
yep. You
Um,
know, that's a thing.
and
I
you
don't I
may
don't
need to get
condone it, but it's a
yourself.
thing.
No, I don't condone it at all. I want you to play the game fairly, and it's also a breach of a brief breach of EULA.
Yeah.
But the reality is that
It's there.
it's there. Um, there's no, there really isn't no way of sugarcoating this. The game is free to play, so it means that it is accessible to all at its base level. But it's very unapologetic on how hard it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't give a fuck about your feelings.
You have to learn from what the game is trying to teach you. You have to.
You have to understand that the people who made this game are hardcore fans of Diablo 2.
Yeah.
Like they fell in love with Diablo 2. And it's like, yo, let's make a harder version, a crazier version of Diablo 2. And that's what the fuck they did. They made a fucking harder version of Diablo 2.
This is the current, like when you think about how powerful you can get in this game, like because you know how most games, right, like it's just numbers, right? You get to a certain point and your skills do bigger number, woo. But this game is like, no, you feel yourself getting tankier, you feel yourself killing stuff faster, you feel your build changing, you feel that shit when you upgrade a really big piece to something that's like for instance, when I the new helmet from my last helmet, bro, 30% DPS. I feel that shit. My character plays slightly different now.
I think a lot of games can emulate that, right? They can emulate it. I think that there's something with Path has. If I had to take a guess, Path has at least 10 layers of difficulty. That
Oh god, no. I think it's
sometimes
more.
I'm thinking the broad ones, like for example, the difference between Act 5 and 6. Right when you get that first 30% knock on your resistances,
Okay.
that's a layer of difficulty, right?
Hmm.
And it's subtle. It's like, oh, shit is hitting me harder. Then you go to the next act that knocks another 30%. That's another layer,
And
right?
then they start doing chaos damage.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden they start doing chaos damage. That's another. Like then you're doing maps. Then you're doing lead content in maps. Then all of a sudden now you're doing yellow maps. So now you're
But
doing yellow
now
tiered maps.
but now this is where I say that there are more
Oh yeah, yeah,
because
yeah. There are more. I'm
now
just saying like
you
the visible ones.
right, no, but then you have like the different layers of each of the contents,
Right.
right? Like
Because you can't
there's
opt out
easy
all of them.
heisting. Right, but there's easy heisting. right? And then there's like crazy heisting.
Yeah.
There's easy delving, mid delving, and deep delving. And there's mapping, there's Alkengo, then there's like fucking hardcore magic find 6
100%.
player. Yeah, 100% delirium, fucking dropping 500 scarabs a map. Fucking there are so many levels of difficulty in this game and they keep adding more.
They keep adding more, yeah. And the most frustrating thing for a player is not understanding how do I get from one difficulty to another, and why am I having so much trouble. That's what most path players who become hardcore and advanced. That's where you get the thrill. Is knowing, okay, I know what's wrong. I just need a little bit more money so I can fucking just. And then when you break through it and you get that boost of DPS or more defense, and you get through it, you're like, fuck yeah. And you're
blasting this
fucking,
now.
then you blasting that shit, and you get to the next level of difficulty. You're like, oh fuck, what do I need now? And that's the fucking that's path endgame.
Yeah, incrementally making your build stronger and stronger and stronger to do more and more difficult content.
And then they released T17 maps. You're sitting there like, are you fucking kidding me?
And then there's a hidden difficulty in T17 maps where if you are using the Atlas strategy that literally just goes around the Atlas, adding 2% increased explicit modifiers in your maps, then T17 maps become an entirely
T17.2.
Yeah, they become an entirely different fucking thing. My Animate Guardian near insta died in a T17.
Oh yeah, Muse died day 2.
Yeah,
he tried it. He was like, "Oh, I spent 15 divs on my thing. I should be fine." At that point, I think he spent about 100 divs on his build.
Yep.
Yeah, and he went in, and 12 minutes in, he was like, "Fuck, my Animate Guardian died."
And it's just like, oh.
And it's like, what happened? I tried a T17 map. Like, it died like insta-gimped. I was like, how much was it? He was like, 15 divs. And I'd be a crush, bro. I might rage quit that fucking league. He was like, I may have to sell some stuff.
I need to invest more into minion defense.
he sold some stuff, and like by the end of the day, he had his Animate Guardian back, and he was pretty much blasting, whatever content he was blasting, getting more money.
He decided to blast normaler content, which I'm not sure how much more normal it was. Hard for fucking T16s.
Yeah, for him, normal.
And shit, dude, the strategy that I'm going to be trying, I'm just gathering some currency, and I'm that moment where like you have the money to afford something, but you kind of just like looking at the divs.
I think I get
kind of where I'm at. Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at right now, where I'm like, I could do the strategy, I can afford the strategy, for a little bit of time even. But man, I'm really happy just to see currency in my stash right now, because I've been just spending it all.
But you never want to get to zero.
Oh, this strategy will broke you out if you don't do it correctly, or if you fail too many maps in a row.
Right.
Because
so you want to get some reserves.
Yeah, meat sacks have gone up to 2 div per.
Damn.
And when you're doing the strategy, you're using up to 4 or 5 meat sack corpses per map.
Yeah, that's significant.
It's really significant. And the scarabs
divs a map.
And most of the scarabs are cheap, but one of them will eat into your profits. Like there's no way around it. It's unless you farm it. Like, what are they? Hold up. Which scarab?
It's almost nearly impossible to farm scarabs because there's so many of them. That even if you have all of scarab, or even if you have
that's actually what the strategy is.
What?
You're farming curation scarabs. The
so
10
you
div
block
scarabs?
it out, you try to block out all the other ones and hope for
No. You put in basically a whole bunch of drop chance for scarabs, and then you empower these meat sacks to have a fucking dumb amount of quant, and then you roll T17 maps, because T17 maps have different modifiers than other maps, right?
Yeah.
So for instance, let me get one of these maps and then open it up. And I'll grab a T16 map real quick. Fucking Alkit, so I can make a comparison. Boop. Okay. So the implicit modifiers on a map, right? Map tier, item quantity, item rarity, monster pack size. On this fortress that I have, T17, you have item quantity, item rarity, monster pack size, more scarabs, and quality.
So it has an implicit modifier that allows it to get
And it can
scarabs.
be more scarabs, it could be more currency items, it could be a few different things.
And that's unique to the map, so you can't.
No, you can roll that.
Oh, you can roll that.
Yes, with chaos.
Ah,
The
that's why
modifiers.
chaos got expensive.
Yes, that's why. Yeah, that's why divs were cheap and chaos was really expensive.
Motherfuckers was rolling T17 maps like.
Oh yeah. To get a good, because you want to get more rare, you want your monsters to have more rare modifiers, because rare modifiers mean higher quant bonuses, and you want as many quant bonuses. And then you go and you open these maps, you kill these rare meat sacks, and they drop like hundreds of scarabs.
Damn.
And you're literally just farming, and you're also dropping tons of T0 uniques. Which is why Headhunter, Mageblood, all of that shit was dirt cheap this league. Do you want to know how much you can get a Headhunter for right now?
Was it like 30 divs? It's much cheaper now?
Oh, hold up. Let me see. Hold up. I just want a real number real quick. Cheapest Headhunter on the market, 5 div.
Wow.
Dirt cheap.
Oh, they're gonna nerf the shit out of this league. That's not game core. Fuck that. You know what's funny?
No way that's game core.
They've been trying to make a league that doesn't break like the game. The game. And I don't think they're being very successful at that. Like,
well, so
because they thought it was gonna have, they thought they really was gonna have a league to this league that was gonna tone down the economy a little bit.
What ends up happening is they do this. I don't want them to overcorrect this, by the way, because this can be overcorrected, and then the next league is gonna suck. But then again, you can't have. I don't know. But what they keep doing is they keep being really ambitious with their leagues, because that's what players want. They want to change up. They want new stuff. They want different ways of playing. They want cool shit. And GGG is like, you want cool shit? We'll give you cool shit. And then they don't have the time to test how these things interact with each other completely. And I don't think any of the people that develop for this game play the game on the level of someone of that is like making these strategies, right?
Yeah.
They're not power gaming their own game. They're doing this,
casually playing their own game at the high levels, but they're not
right. Yeah. They're like me,
looking to break it.
They're like me. They're just playing the game. They get a whole bunch of damage. I would never have figured out the meat sack strategy. Never. I hardly even can figure out normal map strategies. I'm just one of those people. I'm good at making a build at this point in my.
You ever seen a meme that like the guys like staying off in space, and all of a sudden the numbers and the calculations just start.
Yeah,
that's what that's what those guys are. The ones that figuring out these strategies.
Just like, oh, that's how much, and then
this connects to that. This, oh my god, I can test it.
Mirrors.
They post a fucking video, and it just goes viral.
Yep, because everybody wants to drop a mirror.
And for path viral, it's not the same as like actual viral. It's like it could be like 10,000 views, and it's viral. It's like fuck, that's the new one. Go, and then they patch it.
Yep, like this league was bad for that. Like if you figured out a strategy,
it was so many fucking hot fixes.
Because there's so many broken strategies. Bro, there were people like dropping 2 mirrors a map. Like mirrors, not worth money. Mirrors.
Yeah, I
They
was
were
seeing
exploiting mirror
pictures of
shards.
like I was seeing like pictures of some of that on Reddit.
Like, dude,
Mirror
it
shard, mirror shard, mirror
breaking,
shard, mirror
yeah,
shard, mirror shard, mirror shard.
breaking the game. You can't let that shit be in the game unless you just want mirrors. The
But the
rare
thing
side of
about
it
it too
game
is
to
that
be
it's
just flooding the market.
they add they don't just add a league content, but they also
No
add peripheral things that they're
items.
adding. So they
Yeah,
add like the scarab. I they should have just made a scarab league
nah.
because they added scarabs on top of the
I
league content.
don't. You and me don't agree here. I'm not gonna bullshit. We don't agree here. I am so happy with how this league went.
No, I think it's good for everyone, but I just think in general, like if for them to really test it out, they need to add one component at a time and see how that affects
But
the
this is my
overlay, the layers, the current layers of shit, and then add another layer and then see how that interacts with everything.
but this is my issue with that, right? This is why I said I don't want them to overcorrect. I understand that it's hard to test all these things, but you have to remember that part of the wonderfulness of PoE is that discovery. Is that kind of shit. If you stumble upon this shit, you're fucking
I'm
ecstatic.
I'm so
And
I wouldn't be surprised that developers are like fucking controlling fires though. It's like god damn.
right, but that's kind of their job. You know, I am so cool with you guys making new content and letting us break it and then fixing it later. Yo, we're cool. I don't want to go into new leagues like Kalandra.
Yeah, got a point.
You know what I mean? That was not fun. And there wasn't enough fun stuff to exploit. And then people found out, oh, there's only one
I mean,
viable strategy to make money.
there's an inevitable end game of like how broken each league gonna get. Is it gonna be? Is that gonna build an expectation of like nutty break like just
Yeah, but in my
and
personal view, fuck your expectation, right? Like, that's kind of the world. Your expectations and what you get are completely fucked. It doesn't matter what you expect to get from your internet provider, you're going to get what the fuck they give you. And it's sort of like that for Path. And it's one of those things where, like, if you go into a new league expecting that you're going to drop 5 mirrors because they're going to release a broken strategy, then you're just a silly ass that thinks certain things with no proof. I don't think that's a good thing to have expectations on a new league. The only thing that you can expect is a new league. It might be hard. It might be fucking great. Fucking Kalandra sucked. I didn't know that it was gonna suck before that shit launched. Affliction was fun as fuck. I didn't know that shit before that lit shit launched. I had an inkling. I had a
Crucible
feeling.
was fun as fuck too.
Dude, there was a lot of fun leagues, and you don't know they're fun until you get
Even
in
the
there and play
Krangle,
it.
which was
Yeah,
Krangle?
that shit was. Yeah, that was
It's
Crucible.
Crucible. Okay, the Krangling shit was fucking like what the fuck.
That shit was fun and tedious and interesting and hard and different, and it was fucking neat. I'm glad they took that risk of adding a difficult mechanic that many people didn't like immediately take to, because when they on release, then the mechanic sucked dick.
They were like, let's tone up the juice.
They're like, let's not only that, but it was hard as fuck, and you didn't know how much juice it was. It took the quality of life to happen.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It really did. And that's basically the same with all leagues that I've noticed. It takes a while for the league to settle in because we're kind of the guinea pigs. They don't have a public test realm.
they do have a small one,
They have a very small one, but I thought
and
it was
it's
like
just
friends
like,
and
does
family.
it work?
I thought it was like friends and family.
Yeah, it just does it work. That's what it is. It's like a does it work?
Yeah.
Like, and then it comes to us like, can you break it?
And we're like, yeah.
Yes, every time.
the
Day
the
one,
community is always like yes.
he was like challenge
Unless
accepted.
unless they do the things like when what's his name quit the the league because they nerfed party play too hard.
Oh, Quinn or
I can't remember. It's
uh,
I know.
yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking about. I know who you're
Yeah.
talking about.
I hold up. I
Is
gotta
he?
find
Isn't
it.
he back?
Oh yeah, he's playing. He was fucking. He did so much shit this league, dude.
Uh,
The
he's
dude was
back.
doing a series called Based or Cringe, where he was literally trying out all of the Atlas strategies. Empyrean.
Empyrean, yes.
That dude, he was so angry, and he was like, "I'm quitting this league. Fuck this. This is
And it's
bullshit."
only they only like just 5% change. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah, yeah.
nothing
It
crazy.
was
Party
just like,
play
come on.
is never going to be dead. Like they got look, man. They haven't killed Orbot. They haven't killed Cursebot. They haven't killed some of these like Magic Fine. They
Mana
haven't killed. They
Guardian.
haven't killed Magic Fine. Like there's gonna be a space for party play, bro. They want you to be a party, right? Because that means that instead of it being one player, now it's 5 players playing,
6.
and oh yeah, 6, and that means that that's the potential for more people buying stuff, more people, potential buying, buying supporter packs. You get
But they don't want 6 people to be able to break the economy.
yeah. No,
Which
and not a group of 5 people. I'm literally 5 people. They don't want 5 people breaking the economy.
right,
So
like
Imperium and his friends.
right, exactly, because they're the only ones that can get to that level of gaming on such a short amount of time. Those dudes are
I thought
power
they
gamers.
for a while there. I heard someone flirting with the concept of like some of these guys should be playing on their own league.
Yo, I have no idea what that would do to the economy.
Yeah. Like someone floated. I don't know if it was a streamer. I don't know if it was Sis or someone else. Or maybe it was me. I don't know. But because I know Scissorin does his own leagues.
Right.
Not, but he plays with regularly. But every now and then
Yeah.
he does his own league. But someone
Gauntlet.
floated the idea of like, what if streamers are allotted their own leagues during like simultaneously with ours, and that
I
way
feel like
their
that would.
craziness exposes some of the breakiness of the game, but doesn't affect the greater population's economy.
I feel like that would end up just making it harder to get into streaming.
Mm.
Because if you go onto, right, say like me, right,
Yeah.
I'm not capable of making 2 mirrors in a week, but Empyrean Gaming is. And if I have to compete in an economy like that, I'm gonna have to go and do something very monotonous that they need, right? They're gonna need fossils, so I have to go and farm fossils now because that's the only thing that's gonna sell because they're selling fucking mirrors. Or they're selling every other fucking thing that drops in maps. You know what I mean? You can't compete with that and still make money, and they're not going to buy anything from you. They're farming
Well,
everything.
no. I guess let me elaborate. I guess a little bit. I don't mean that streamers all play in one league. No, each streamer get their own league.
Oh, so all the streamers just have to play on SSF?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Like
Hmm.
to be a part of an official stream. Like you can be a regular streamer, right, and be fine, general community. But if you want to be the top tier, like Scissoring, that's top, them guys, you need to start applying for us. Like, but you can't. So
I feel like
apparently,
it's unfair.
it is a little bit. And again, this is just the idea that was floated. Like somehow isolate them from the economy, basically.
And again, I feel like that's unfair because you're going to isolate them from a third of the game.
Well, they're high privileged. They're privileged people. I mean, they get all these favorable RNG and stuff like that. So
There's privileged people in every fucking video game. There's always a top 1% in every game. You don't just start cutting them out of the game. That doesn't fix anything.
True.
Like that. That
Again,
just
it's not my
seems.
idea. I don't
Oh
think
no
it's
no no
my
no!
idea. It's just
I'm not. I'm not like. I understand. Like I sound incredulous and like I'm attacking you, but I'm not. I'm just more attacking the idea, and you can't see me kind of just staring off into space.
like, I'm looking around like, that was me, bro. Like
no. I'm like kind of like staring like off, kind of like thinking about it, and I don't like that thought. Just being like, oh no, they're too good at the game. Get them the fuck out of here.
But
Like,
I do think in its defense, as far as I'm staying with the economy, is that if they start breaking the economy, I think the developers have a more what's the word I'm looking for, a more incentive to step in and be like, oh, we need to fix this.
well, that's what they've been doing though. A
Because
whole bunch of
if they're only doing it in a separate league and no player has any capabilities of ever actually achieving that point, then they won't fix it. They're like, oh, it's fine. It's just happening isolated and isolated thing.
right.
We don't
So
have to
the
fix it.
less problems will get fixed.
Yeah. So
Which eventually that is not. It doesn't
it
become that.
accumulates. Yeah, accumulate.
No. It doesn't become that anyway. Because if we're all watching these streamers, they find a way to break the economy. Now we're breaking the economy.
True.
Like it does. I don't think it
Even if you
actually
pay
solves any.
even if you pay 2 hours a day, eventually you can get to that point.
Right. But at the same time, though, like I really don't like the concept of balancing the game around the top 1%. I don't like it. And I don't know if it's the right idea or the wrong idea to do, but something about that concept really irks me. It's not it's first of all, it's a game, right? I understand you don't want to make mirrors even rarer to drop so that streamers and high value players only get one of them a league, because that means no normal player will see one ever, which is already the case.
I think that 1% um it serves such a powerful tool. It creates desire. When you
Yeah.
see that 1% just fucking doing banana ass content and getting banana ass fucking drops, for a second you think to yourself like, maybe I
I
could do
want
that
that.
shit. Maybe I could
I
do that
want that.
shit. What do I need to do to get that shit? What are they building? It creates desire, and unfortunately, this kind of comes full circle to what we're talking about today. Like, if you can only pay 2 hours a day, but you have the desire to be a 1%er, understand this. You're not going to get there by just playing 2 hours. You just can't. You
Yeah.
can't. Like, it's just, these guys play sometimes 10, 12, 16-hour days.
Yeah, I was about to say 16, 18 hours a day.
Yeah, they'll spend 5 hours prep, 3 hours trading, you know what I mean, rolling maps, and then what you see on film is them blasting for 4 hours everything they've prepared.
Yeah.
And
Because
it's
even
five of them.
Empyrean, he'll or all kinds of people, dude. Zizarin
Yeah.
and his friend.
Yeah.
Fucking, oh, I did this off stream. Oh, I did this off stream. Oh, I did this off stream.
I did this while I was taking a
Because
shit. Like, it was just it was just like, these guys like,
there's a lot of prep
they
work.
may only film for, a couple of hours, but they're live, breathe. Like, I'm surprised Cicerone didn't call his child fucking Zana.
Or some shit, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'm
Like,
pretty sure his wife has, some say in that.
she's like, no, I draw the line, bro. Come on, stop. You already, trying to, I was gonna say
You already sold
sketchy.
your soul to them.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where it's like, it's just being realistic, bro. Just do what you can, have fun with the game, and just get as far as you can. Because, like,
Yeah.
like you said, Coughy, like, just a game, bro. You don't have to get mirrors. First of all, what the fuck would you do with a mirror?
Most people that are new at the game wouldn't know what the fuck to do with the mirror.
You're not gonna have no mirror tier items to actually use it.
Sell it.
So then you could
You're
sell
gonna
it.
sell it for
Okay,
div.
so you could del it and then sell it, and okay, you're gonna have 1,000 divs. But guess what? You only have 2 hours of gameplay. So what the fuck are you gonna buy? It's gonna take you a week just to buy everything you want. You still got to level. You still got to get to mapping. So again, it's okay. It's okay.
Kind of got to be realistic about your goals. If you want to do it, you're gonna have to put the time to do it. There's no way around it. There's no shortcut to T17 maps other than time.
And don't be ashamed of using build guides. Don't be ashamed to use streamer, popular streamer, build guides, Gazzy, Scissorin, Mathel, and some of these other guys. Look, man, they spent fucking hours building these things, so you don't have to.
Yep. Oh, like it's really one of those things where if you want to have that kind of level of pride to say that you made your own build, I didn't use this for some weird random ass flex, then sure, go ahead and struggle for no reason. I told that
But
to
don't
our good
complain.
friend. Right. I told that to our good friend Alex.
That's true. He does make off the wall fucking
Right.
retarded
He
ass.
makes off the wall builds that he takes 17 hours to POB on his off time and then wants to just make the shit work. And it's just like, dude,
How much money do I
you
need to make? It's like, that's the irony in it. He could probably make it work.
right, but he doesn't have the
He
money.
doesn't have the time. He
Yeah.
can only play 2 hours a day. If he's lucky. If he's lucky, get 2 hours a day. If he's
Yeah.
lucky. And most times he might play for an hour and then fall asleep. You know what I mean? So
And
like,
and it's unfortunate because the items that he needs to complete are things that I would need to target farm for days.
yeah.
I would literally have to
Or need
sacrifice
or need the
any one to
cash.
change, right? And I would have to focus on completely whatever his build needs for multiple days, not touch my build
Mm-hmm.
to get it for him. If I wanted to have it on for him to when he
And
comes on to
again,
be able
if you only play for 2 hours,
like he's going to
good
put it
luck.
on and then realizes he needs something else to make that work.
Going back to the whole divs per hour.
Yeah,
In order for you to make an off button build that you made on your own and you want to just rock out with it, think about how much divs you can make in order to be able to trade to get the items and the currency that you need to make the character work.
and
Even
if you're trying to do that,
if you have 2 hours and I bestow you all knowledge of Miyu, that means you have the knowledge. You still need to put in the work, and with 2 hours, it's not enough.
yeah. Well, if for instance, like his first bow, I think was like 80 or 85 div, right? And if you're only making 2 div an hour,
Miyu's,
yeah,
and that was day one.
yeah,
That was day one league start.
or
He did
day
that.
two, it was day two.
I don't know, bro. By the time I went
It
to
was
sleep, he was already shopping for it.
right. He was shopping, but he hadn't gotten the currency together. I remember when he bought it
Okay.
because he had crafted a ROG one and put it off, and then about 2 hours later he bought one,
Okay.
and I'm pretty sure that was technically day two.
Okay. Fair enough.
But
Fair enough.
yeah, but it's just one of those things where it just takes an immense amount of effort to do that kind of thing. You have to be like really putting in the grind, and if you're not making the money to be able to afford that, then you need to craft it. And if you need to craft it, you need to learn how to craft.
I
And
need to do
crafting is its
delve.
own game. Yeah, and crafting is its own game. You know,
It takes hours.
hours.
Hours to prep
Good
time,
lord.
hours to fucking troubleshoot, hours to repair, try again,
Looking
rinse and
looking at
repeat.
weightings, fucking learning what metacrafts do, what things you need to block. There's so much. There's so much in the game to where trying to learn it on your own is just not feasible.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not worth having a weird sense of pride to say that you made your build on your own if the build that you made on your own doesn't kill bosses.
Any final thoughts to wrap up?
No buttons. Press a button, tell someone about us. Press a button again. Yeah.
Well, if
You
you
know,
press it again, you're gonna unsubscribe, so don't do that.
no, because you can subscribe and then thumbs up. 2 buttons.
Yeah. Or leave a comment. That's more than two
That's
buttons.
so many buttons, but if you feel like we're worth like so many button presses, button press it up
You
for
don't
us.
even have to make. You don't even have to write nothing. Just gibberish. Just face roll it.
Blah.
And then be like,
if you if
someone
you
says
hear
something. They press more buttons.
if you hear this, please type in this chat box cream frige.
Just cat walking over the keyboard, kind of. Just do that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Yeah, this is this conversation was exactly what I'd imagine. I think it needs to have. I think it needs to. More people need to listen to this. More casual players need to listen to this. I think a lot of casual players comes into this game thinking, "Oh, I can just casual
Glass.
my way." Yeah, no, bro, no, stop it,
Nah, this
stop
isn't
it.
Call of Duty.
And I think I'm gonna call this episode "Not for Casuals."
Probably true.
I'm gonna probably think about something a variation of that. So, anyway, thank you guys.
Have a good night.
Have a good one.